there is a something that I only see in the underground dance scene, and it's often with people that are not able to make a living from their movement. So I think something to do with that struggle and that level of passion to be able to commit yourself to that, whatever it is that you're doing, even though all of this stuff is against you. Yeah, it seems to produce something very exciting and very unique, and that's the dancing I like.
Hello, my name is Eline Perez and you're listening to Are You an Artist? Today's episode is with Stefan Puxon, who speaks about hip-hop, choreography for camera, but also throwing knives. Funny, honest and philosophical, let's enjoy Stefan's response to Are You an Artist? So, Stefan.
Hello.
Hello. I start each episode by reading out a letter I've written to the guest.
Oh, nice.
So, dear Stefan, you are a choreographer, DJ, dance teacher, coach, founder of Good Company Dance Collective. You also have a IMDb page, which is super cool, as crew member for a couple of movies. So, of course, I really wanted to do an episode with you. Can I share how we first met?
Yeah.
Okay. So it was through a dating app in Covent Garden. I discovered a very kind, generous, and passionate man.
That's
now
nice.
I'm gifted to be your friend, to go to your dance classes sometimes, although I haven't been for years. Sorry. And I also had the pleasure to work with you recently on a dance project. So, Stefan, are you an artist?
Am I an artist?
Yes.
Yeah, I guess so.
How do you define
How do I
that
define
word?
an artist?
Yeah.
I suppose it's creativity through different means. Mine's dance and music.
I didn't know you were a DJ.
More like a bedroom DJ. There was a time when I did like some nights. I did like a club night and some bars and stuff. But it was always just a creative outlet. It's something that I really enjoy doing. I like playing with music. And if some of my friends will listen to me or a bar full of people, that's great. But if not, I'm quite happy just doing it on my own at my place. I just enjoy playing music.
Do you have a first creative memory?
A first creative memory, as in like
when
something
you were
that I
kids?
did as a kid?
Yeah.
That's a good question. My I don't know if she still has it, but my mother, who is an artist through different means, not through music, she was a painter and also, well, she still is, and also she would try and use all different kinds of mediums. She did a bit of sculpture, woodwork, textiles, all kinds of different things. She kept my first ever drawing, and I remember that being up, but I don't remember drawing it.
Ah, and how does it look?
It's like a scribble from like a baby, you know.
Did she tell you how old you were?
Probably. I can't remember though.
But so then you kind of grew up in this already environment of creation. And,
And then like I've from a very young age, I definitely had like pencils in my hands and drawing stuff, but I couldn't tell you my age. There was also a carpenter that lived beneath, like in, didn't live at all. It worked in like the basement kind of space of our apartment block. And his name was Tasso, and he was the nicest man. And my mother ended up making some furniture for us in his workshop. And so I would often go down to his workshop because I'd play outside and you could see into his workshop from the window from where the street level. So I'd often go in there and he would like give me some bits of wood and a nail and a hammer, and I'd like make a sword out of it or whatever.
Okay.
But that must have been very, very young. That must have been like 4, 5, 6 years
You
old.
had a hammer when you were 5?
Yeah. I'm pretty sure I was able to do hammer and nail at a very young age, and that seemed really normal to me. Yeah.
And how did you discover dance and music?
Also in Greece. I mean, music, my mum had a huge record collection, and good music was always being played in the house.
Like what do you have remember the artists
James
and
Brown, Guns N' Roses, Rolling Stones, lots of rock stuff, the Beatles, lots of funk and soul music as well, Aretha Franklin.
so you had that
Yeah,
music
so always
background
had that going on.
and then dance?
And then dance, the first time I was exposed to dance was in Greece, and it was like I want to say like a community fair with a talent show. And there was a bunch of different acts. I couldn't remember any of them, but one of them was this young kid. He must have been 15 years old or something like that. And he did like some break dancing. And the crowd went crazy for him. And one of the other acts didn't turn up, and everyone made him get back up again and do some more breakdancing. And it was like basic stuff, like he wasn't, I mean, bless him, he, wasn't like top tier breakdancer. He just did it because he loved it. And it triggered something in me. And from like 3 or 4 years old, my mum maintains that I was spinning on the carpet for months and months and months after that. So I have like memories of all of that, but not very clear ones. But for as long as I can remember, breakdancing was cool. And then when I started getting a bit older and I'd moved to England, I want to say around the age of like 13 or 14, I started like buying my own music and being interested in my own music. And it was like hip hop was my first thing that I got into, even though I liked other kinds of music, but hip hop became a big thing for me.
And so do you remember when you decided to train in dance? Or it just was also always there?
No, not at all. Like, I didn't think about training in it. It's just something that I thought was really cool. At the same time, I was also really into skateboarding.
Yeah.
So that was like another massive passion of mine around that time. So no, none of that was a career. It was just cool stuff. And I started dancing. I think my parents just wanted their Friday nights free. And they suggested theatre club, and you would do like an hour of singing, an hour of dancing, and an hour of drama. And I didn't like it at first. I was like, this is not for me. And I quit, and I did not want to go back. And my parents kind of encouraged me to give it a second go. And then I started making friends there.
Which helps.
Yeah, so I think really what happened was it was just my social environment, and it was where like I had a good group of friends.
Yeah.
And we just happened to be doing this like theater stuff. And it was fun, like we would go and do shows and perform and have like a day out to London and do a dance number on a famous stage. And it would be really, really cool. But it was just that at first. I was like 10 years old, 11 years old. It was just a fun thing to do. And then when I got to about 13 or 14, I decided, you know what, actually, there's a possibility I might want to be a dancer, and I'm going to start taking it seriously. And I started taking as many classes as I could after school and whatever else.
And what was your dream then? You wanted to dance like more like in battles, or you already had like some companies in mind, or...
I don't think I didn't really understand how the whole dance industry worked. I have just, the other thing you have to remember is the majority of all of this happened like the internet was there, but it wasn't as developed as it is now. Like it wasn't,
so access to
YouTube wasn't there.
Was,
so it was hard to get hold of stuff. Like I had 3 VHS tapes of how to break dance. And I would have to sit there and like rewind it manually to watch these videos back. So it was a different world, and I didn't really understand what the industry was. I just had these snippets and images of people doing this cool stuff that I wanted to do. So yeah, thoughts of like how I was going to be a dancer and what exactly that looked like. I didn't really have them.
Maybe it's kind of better that way though, because you don't have an expectation and you just do it
Perhaps.
because you like it.
Yeah, that's a nice way to look at it. Yeah,
Yeah.
it could be for sure. That is a nice positive. I think that the progress in certain styles like breaking and popping in the street dance world, like you see some youngsters doing stuff that people spent their entire dance life trying to accomplish, and these kids are doing it at like 8, 9 years old.
Oh, and you think it's because like
And I
internet
think
and
it's because,
TikTok and
yeah, I think they've seen it at such a young age. And also, it must be that they've got good guidance and teachers around them to help them with that. But I think it's like, I don't know the exact facts of it, but the 4 minute mile, they couldn't run that for a very long time. Some people thought it wasn't possible for a human to run the 4 minute mile. And then once it was finally broken, like loads of people did it. But up until that point, no one had done it. And it's just kind of, I think it's put into the mindset that, oh, it's possible, so I can do it. So when these youngsters are seeing this incredible stuff, it's just like, oh, that's possible, I can do that. So
yeah, that's kind
yeah,
of nice to
Yeah.
break this.
I think that that's great that that's now
Limitations.
available.
Yeah. And how were your parents supportive when you really started to train in dance and go towards these routes?
Yeah, my parents were always like emotionally supportive and just weren't capable of being financially supportive. But like my mum has always been like my biggest cheerleader. God bless her. She's a wonderful woman and she's been at she would be at every performance I ever do if she
Oh,
could.
wow.
And she would be as excited about, all of them
So sweet.
equally. Yeah, she's really been my cheerleader, so I appreciate that huge amount. And whenever there has been possibilities to help fund things, they've done as much as they could. But yeah, most of it was, you want to be a dancer, I'm proud of you, off you go, figure it out.
So then you had like to do jobs on the side and to make
Yeah,
money
that
too.
kind of stuff. Yeah.
Okay.
My dad hasn't been so interested in my career, which has been a bit heartbreaking at times. Fair enough, whatever. He was never like, I don't want you to be a dancer or anything like that. He was just, happy for me that I'm doing it. And when I tell him stuff, he would be like, that sounds really amazing, I'm proud of you. But he never really wanted to come see it. He never really like brings it up or gets excited. It's just like, that's nice for you, And it's like,
Yeah, he's just happy because you're happy,
Yeah, he just really isn't interested. Which, yeah, like I say, there's been times in the past, like I did a show years ago and I could feel while I was doing it, if that wasn't the peak of my career, it was right up there. And I so desperately wanted my dad to come and see that show. And he never did. And he was all set to. And then last minute, he was like, I don't think I'm gonna. I mean, to be fair, he would have had to travel for it.
Yeah.
And come fly out to Switzerland. But I was like, I'll pay for it all. I'll sort it all out. Come and watch the show. But he wasn't able to. So that sucked. But otherwise, yeah, supportive. I don't have a very big family. I've got an auntie and a cousin, my mum and my dad. Basically, that's it. Stepmom. And like I've half sister and some stepsisters that I'm on good terms with. But I wouldn't say like we were close. We don't
So
like
just
speak every couple of weeks.
really
I
your
see
mom.
her at events.
Yeah. Just your mom being like your fan.
Just my mum, yeah. She's basically been the greatest moral push when it comes to anything. She's great. Yeah.
And do you remember the first time that you choreographed something?
That's a good question. I choreographed a performance for the school talent show with me and some of my friends on my first year of secondary school. But I'm sure that I choreographed something like just for fun or with my friends before that.
Okay, so you were very early on creating already dance and
Yeah. But yeah, that was that was fun. And I was like the only dancer, I remember. Like I was going to dance classes, and then my other three friends, then we all did it together. They just Run-D.M.C versus Jason Nevins. It's like that came out, and then everyone thought they were a breakdancer. And so, so we did this performance for the school talent show, and it was very bad, like extremely bad. But yeah, that was like the first public display of my work. Yeah.
And do you have like one thing that you created that you're super proud of?
I don't know if I've got one thing that I've created that I'm super proud of.
Or maybe the most difficult thing the most difficult job that you
Yeah, I
had as a
don't know.
choreographer.
I find the most difficult jobs as a choreographer the ones where, like, the music is really bad, and they're not giving you very much like creative space.
Oh.
Those I find really challenging, and I don't like to do them. But like complex, I don't know. Like a lot of my career was in the commercial world, so I did like a lot of adverts and music videos. But then I didn't get to really do what I wanted to do as a choreographer through that work. So some of like the passion projects that I did, like when Good Company was a thing, it's not so much anymore. I was having a really good time creating with that and working with talented people. So that was really fun. When I was in BirdGang, which is a hip-hop dance company in London, when I first came to London, that was one of the first things I did. I did some really cool stuff with them that we put a huge amount of work into, and I was really proud of, and it was really well received. So like that stuff, yeah. The stuff like outside of the paid work or the very low kind of paid or passion projects, that was the stuff that I really enjoyed doing the most.
You often share that how you really like underground dancers, like
Yeah, I guess from that first dude doing his breakdancing in Greece, that's just always been the world that's been most interesting to me. Yeah, like underground dancers. It might sound a bit cheesy, but like they're doing it for the love of it.
Yeah.
And they often, like, if a person isn't able to make money with their dance and has to work a normal job or living in London potentially too, and they're still absolutely sick at dancing, like they are doing it because they love it so much, you know? And that creates a different level of skill and talent than if you're just like making decent money from being a dancer. You just kind of, you're comfortable.
Yeah.
You're in a much more comfortable position. You can just enjoy doing some dance classes to maintain your skill level, you know, because it's working what you're doing, you know. So I don't know, maybe I'm generalizing. I'm sure that there's lots of commercial dancers that are doing very well for themselves and are also really pushing the limits of their skills, and vice versa. But I don't know. I guess I'm trying to decipher it and figure out what the answer is. But there is an X factor, a something that I only see in the underground dance scene, and it's often with people that are not able to make a living from their movement. So I think something to do with that struggle and that level of passion to be able to commit yourself to that, whatever it is that you're doing, even though all of this stuff is against you. Yeah, it seems to produce something very exciting and very unique, and that's the dancing I like.
That's cool.
Yeah.
And what drew you to like working for movies?
Like currently, I'm moving over. Is that what you mean?
Yeah, but also like you started to. I mean, you're the one who recommended me to work as an essay, which I'm super grateful for.
Oh yeah.
I do remember I was like a cleaner. and was doing all these cleaning jobs, and you were like, hey, Eileen, do you know you can make a bit more money by
Yeah,
just...
hanging out.
Yeah. But also I didn't expect to be quite interested by like seeing how it works, you know, like the
Oh, yeah, it's
sound,
cool.
the light and everything.
Yeah.
And realizing how many people you need.
Yeah,
For-
to do the smallest things.
Yeah.
I kind of fell into it. Well, I'll say this. I really have enjoyed performing and choreographing across the board with all different sorts of things. But there's been a certain magic about film sets that is just a little bit different. And I've always enjoyed performing and choreographing on film sets more than anywhere else. And by chance started to do some film production work, basically, and have now really fallen in love with it and want to do more with that. And I think that there's a lot of transferable skills between being a choreographer on a film set and being an assistant director on a film set. So yeah, I've started to explore that and I really enjoy it.
I remember you were so good at the project we did together. Everybody was like, this guy really knows how to choreograph for the camera.
Oh yeah, of course.
That was, because it was like very condensed in a way, but you were just like, you knew how to make it work in a way.
Yeah.
So
yeah, that was really fun. It was nice to do that. It was nice to work with you.
So now you kind of want to become like a how do you call it, assistant director
Yeah.
for movies?
Yeah. Well, not necessarily movies. It might still be adverts and music videos. Maybe movies. Yeah, that. And then the other thing that I'm interested in that world is it's called Steadicam, which is a particular kind of camera rig that you can get a very smooth shot with, and that you can maneuver the camera into some awkward spaces that you might not be able to if it's on a track or something else.
That's why you were so good with that microphone. You know how to...
The reason I'm intrigued by that is because it's often used to capture movement and dance. And I think that I would be good behind that camera filming movement. So another thing that I'm curious about at the minute.
So curious.
Yeah.
Because you also created your boat in a way.
Yeah.
And that's probably
Did
also, now that I know like that your mom was doing all this like work, maybe that's also why you were good with your hands and to...
Yeah, I think that's very much it.
Yeah.
It was like annoying at the time, but I think it
now that it's over.
Yeah, now that it's over, it was very beneficial, because if I ever wanted or needed anything as a kid, my mum would just be like, nah, I'll make it.
Wow.
It was like, can we go to McDonald's? She'd be like, nah, I'll make you
it.
a burger. And it would be like a great burger.
But you wanted the toy, and then she would make the toy.
Man. All the sugar that's in it. But she'd be like that with anything. She'd be like, I'd be like, oh, I saw this T-shirt. She'd be like, I'll make it. I'll make it, or whatever it was. It always just, she was like, I'm sure that I can figure that out. I'll just make you one.
Wow.
So I think that's just been in my... I mean, sometimes she'd make me a wonderful thing, and sometimes it was...
Well, of course.
She did her best to figure something out for me. But... Do
you have like a memory of something terrible that you were like, oh no?
No, nothing specifically, but...
Just the McDonald's.
Yeah. So yeah, I guess I've often felt like someone else made it, I can probably make it.
That's a cool
With a couple of goes, maybe. And a YouTube video. Yeah.
And so do you have like any inspirations, like favorite artists or people who...
Yeah, I mean, I suppose loads. I like get very inspired by new music and take great pleasure. Sometimes I just spend days listening to music and like trying to find new artists, new tracks, new stuff. I love doing that.
Was still hip hop or like
Whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely whatever.
Ah.
Yeah.
What are you listening to at the moment? Or a recent discovery that we should know about?
I'm like enjoying like funk and soul stuff. Like Jungle has been doing some wonderful music lately, which I've been enjoying a lot. But yeah, so that would be a real inspiration. Like there's a electronic music artist, I don't know how better to describe him, called Lorne, and I don't know anyone else that he's like. He just does a very unique thing, often a bit soundscapey and like moody. I don't know the good words to describe it. It's very unique, and I absolutely love the stuff that he does. And he did a collaboration. It was a string of tracks with a guy called Dollar. And that sound and those tracks became the inspiration for starting to write a hip-hop theatre piece that I was thinking about doing. But the inspiration came from the music. I heard this track and I was like, all the images it conjures up for me, it's like this show that I would like to do. So
wow.
So
that might be a project also coming.
It's been like a thing that I've been dabbling with for such a long time. Sometimes I'll have a flood of ideas and I'll start writing again, and sometimes I'll take a big break and not do anything at all. But it is something that I think I wouldn't feel completely satisfied with my career in dance if I didn't at least try to develop that show.
Wow. And what's a hip hop theater piece? It's like
so like if you imagine musical theater, it's like a play, but they use some other artistic elements to tell the story, dance and music. So hip hop theater would be that idea, but using the art forms of hip hop. So sometimes rap, DJing, sometimes the graffiti art would play a part in it, and of course dance.
That's so cool.
Yeah, different hip hop music sometimes.
Wow.
Yeah.
Have you started to write it, or it's more like ideas?
Yeah, like I said,
on and off.
On and off thing.
Yeah.
I've got the bare bones of it, and I've fleshed out some sections of it, but it's a real rabbit hole because
can go on forever.
Yeah, you get this idea and then you think, right, well, that's how the movement's going to be, and it's like that's the track that I'd want to use, but then like it's thinking about the lighting and the staging and all of this other stuff, all of these other parts that need to fit together. It's fun, it's really fun, but you can really go down a rabbit hole. And it's not a quick process. So.
Yeah.
So that's, you were saying what's inspiration? Music's a big inspiration for me. I don't know if there are any specific people. Like, when I was quite young, my school friend, his parents on several occasions would take us up to London and would go see a show. And we went to see Stump. We went to see a show called Rome and Jules by a guy called Rennie Harris. And he also did another thing. He came back the following year and did a show called Children of the Asphalt Jungle or Concrete Jungle. I can't remember what it is. Was also Rennie Harris. And those were hip-hop theatre pieces. Not Stump, but those two. And like all three of those shows really had like a big impact on me.
Okay.
Yeah. So I was very interested in hip-hop theatre. And we also, the other thing that started coming up, I think the first one was in like 2004, and I was at sixth form college, and it was Breakin Convention, which is an event put on by Jonzi D at Sadler's Wells. And the Sadler's Wells complex, the whole building gets taken over by hip-hop culture and hip-hop theatre. and there's a lot of music and dance and graffiti everywhere, and they have performances go on all weekend. You can also take workshops.
Mm-hmm.
And that was another big one. Going to that event was a big inspiration, and being able to see like hip hop theater has grown a lot, but it's still not that big. It's not a household name. Some people might be like, "Oh, I think I know what you mean," but you know, it's not a household name. So at that time, I was seeing some of the best in the world
Yes.
because there wasn't a lot of
Because they were
platforms for
the
them.
only ones making
They were
it
the only
through.
ones doing it, so
Yeah.
I felt like I saw some incredible stuff at Breakin convention, and I think, you know, it was just on in May, and I highly recommend it to anyone. That was a big one. Very, very talented people there. So yeah.
Do you have a favorite choreographer?
Don't know if I have one favorite choreographer. I have a tremendous amount of respect for Kenrick H2O Sandy from Boy Blue.
Mm-hmm.
He has achieved amazing things, and as a dancer and choreographer and company director running Boy Blue. Yeah, he's always been an inspiration throughout my dance career in the UK, for sure. He would definitely be one of my favorites, if not, top favorite. And then another one would be Frederick Ridman.
Okay.
He was part of a dance company, a Swedish dance company called Bounce.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe I'm going to make a mistake here with the exact details. Either the company was called Bounce or the show that they did was called Bounce.
I can check it out.
Yeah, I'm not exactly sure.
Eileen from the montage, Bounce is indeed the name of this company created in 1997, the year I was born. Yes.
But I remember it going on tour, and it was breaking versus ballet, and it was like this conjunction of the ballet and breaking.
Wow.
And no one had really done something like that before, or at least I had never seen anything like that before. That was quite groundbreaking. That brought a lot of notoriety to that group. And then in Sweden, they kind of blew up. And they created a few different shows, some really good ones. And then eventually all of those members of the company, they grew up. And you do get to a certain age where you can't perform the same way as you used to, and maybe you want to do other
Especially
things.
that's quite super physical, I guess. Ballet, breaking,
Yeah,
it's like the most
they were
demanding.
all exactly. Yeah. So a lot of them moved on to do different things, but Frederick Ridman continued, and to this day is still getting young dancers together and putting on shows. And I recently saw actually on Instagram that he's auditioning for something. So he's constantly working, and he has created some of the most fantastic hip hop theatre shows that I know about. So he would be another one of my favorites. And I think particularly with Frederick Ridman, his big picture vision is amazing. The way that he sees the overall show, which I suppose is more artistic director than choreographer.
Is really difficult, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, he can also put very cool moves together and tell a story with movement, but it's also when you even zoom out further than that to see the overall picture that he creates. Yeah, he's got some very cool ideas, so he's someone that...
And do you think that you can gain like with experience, or it's a little bit innate also that...
Oh, no, I think anything you can gain with experience.
Yeah.
I think some people get a head start with stuff.
Yeah.
You might have a innate ability to do something or propensity for it, but no, I think you can learn it.
Yeah, because you're quite also into coaching and
Yeah.
mental
Yeah.
work and
Absolutely.
yeah.
Yeah.
Was it always something that interested you, or is it more recently that you went into it?
I think I've always been quite self-reflective.
Mm-hmm. Maybe that's why you're a
Maybe
good person.
maybe self-critical, and maybe too much sometimes. A lot of my friends say that.
Yeah.
It makes me feel a bit gross just saying that. So yeah.
Mm-hmm. And what do you like the most about your work?
What do I like the most about my work? I suppose the creative process.
Mm-hmm.
It's really fun being in a studio and making something, or being on a film set and bringing something together.
Do you have a favorite part of the creative process that you're really excited about, like the very beginning when there's nothing and you're just, or when you're in the middle of the things and
Yeah.
putting things together, or when also the end when you're like, that's it.
Yeah. I think not the beginning. I think not the beginning because it's often quite a hurdle. Like, just creating on its own, if you want to do good work, I don't think you can like really force it. You can encourage it. But if you want to do good work and you're not in the right frame of mind, there's nothing much you can do.
Uh-huh.
Your best work isn't going to come out no matter how hard you push it. So that's quite a big hurdle at the beginning, which I find once you start going with that, it snowballs and it becomes a bit easier. And I think also trying, especially if it's a bigger project and you've got all of these elements in your head and you're trying to fit everything together, trying to get that out of your head and into the head of the dancers. Like at first when they just don't know anything yet, like,
Yeah, it's a big communication process.
yeah, you really have to like get a lot of stuff out, and then again it starts to snowball and it feels like everyone's roughly on the same page. We're all kind of facing the same direction. Now we can start like doing something good. So I guess that you're laying all of the foundation first.
Yeah.
And that, so somewhere in the middle. It was a very long-winded answer to your question.
But that's what we love with this podcast.
Okay,
Just
yeah.
to go in and out and,
Okay,
and do
fine.
what.
All
If you
right,
want
cool.
to speak about fishes, we can speak about fishes.
Cool. Okay, so yeah, somewhere in the middle, I think, yeah. And then, yeah, it's nice to see it all come together, isn't it?
Yeah. Especially when it's been hard.
Yeah.
And as a human being, what is your strength?
I don't know, I'm pretty stubborn. Is that strength?
I think so. Because you don't give up, I guess.
Yeah.
And you go forwards.
I think I'm pretty loyal. I think that I don't like being dishonest. And it often gets me in trouble.
Oh, why? Like because you tell the truth?
Yeah,
or-
because people don't want to hear it. And I often don't really want to say it.
like what kind of truth that disturb people?
I don't know, what do you mean?
Like is it
Like,
more like
often the most obvious ones.
is it more like friends or professionals, or like in which context do you feel like it's
Yeah, I guess all of the above, really.
okay?
Yeah. I like...
I think you're just born in the wrong country. I think you should be born in France.
I don't like politics. And going into assistant directing, it's all politics. So I hear. So I don't... we can get deep here for a second. I don't know whether, like, that's just a lesson I need to learn. But the current issue with honesty is that, like, if I'm part of a project, I don't want to be part of it unless I'm into it, right? And if I'm into it, then I want the best for the project. I want to get the best result that we can get. I want everyone to do their best work and whatever it might be. And And if I have to like, and if maybe I can say it in a different way. If someone's better than me at something, then I want them to do the thing. You know, because that's what's best for the project.
Yeah.
You know, like an example would be, I am moving into this film production stuff, and often when you move into a brand new career in a brand new area of things, you have to kind of start at the bottom and pay your dues and figure out the basics. And there's often someone much younger than me that's only been doing this for a little bit longer than me telling me what to do. And I'm very happy that they're doing that, because I don't know what to do sometimes, you know? So that's just like totally natural for me. But some people aren't like that.
Yeah.
And they let their egos like get in the way of everyone getting the best result. And sometimes I'm just not good at playing that game. It's like, let so and so do the thing. They're the best person to do it, even though you really want to. Like, let's not that kind of stuff.
Yeah. I see what you mean. It can be like a lot of pretending also, and
I'm not very good at that. I'd rather us just do a good job.
Yeah, I agree.
We're all just being Anyway, so maybe that's an example.
Yeah, that's a good one. Anything you would like to be better at?
Yeah, I think I'd like to have more patience. I think I'm a bit emotional. I think that's what makes me like a passionate artist.
Yeah.
And like, not everyone is good at feeling.
That's for sure.
You know? and I don't think you can be a good creative and artist if you can't do that. But it's not always good for all situations.
Yeah.
So I think I would like to be better at directing that energy. I think that would be the way to put it. I don't want to feel less, or like, I just want to have better control over it. I guess that makes me sound like I'm crazy. But
no, you're not.
I
think
guess
it's common to a lot of people who are in the creative.
I think I'm just passionate about things.
Yeah.
And then I end up being passionate about anything.
Fishes.
Yeah.
What scares you?
Like not reaching my potential. Like not having the positive impact I could have had. That would be really sucky. I don't think I've always had that. I think in my early 20s, my late teens, early 20s, I was just like, I'm going to be a dancer, yeah. And I was having a wicked time, just like learning moves and going and performing all around the world and having this great time. And then eventually something changed, and I was like, that's been really fun, but it's also been a bit selfish. And it's all just been about me, you know. I suppose you could say you've inspired people, and, you know, art and culture is important. I completely agree, and I'm thankful for the people that inspired me. But it wasn't enough. That is a good thing, but it wasn't enough to feel like I'm like contributing to the world, you know? I'm just dancing and doing cool moves. So then I started to think that, you know, I've got to do something more than just dancing for me, because it's cool and I like it.
Yeah. That's cool.
And I think that has developed into, you know, I could probably have a fairly decent impact on the world. And if I didn't do that, that would be a shame. So that I'm afraid of.
What's your strongest desire in life?
I suppose it's kind of the other side to the last question.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Contributing?
Yeah. Being a good human, yeah. I think I want to be a good human. I think that's my greatest desire. Yeah. I think that's my greatest desire. Yeah, I want to be a good human.
Mm.
Yeah.
And do you want to be liked and approved? And by who?
I think we all want that, really. I think I want the truth. And whether being liked and approved comes along with that or not, I want the truth of the situation.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't want to be liked and approved.
If it's fake.
Yeah, or if it's
Or if you're
for
fake.
something that isn't real.
Yeah.
I'd rather be not liked and approved, but have the but yeah, be on the side of the truth. But yeah, otherwise, yeah, it means to be liked. Like to be liked.
If you were an animal, which one would you be?
Oh, definitely a cat.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, probably a house cat.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because you're kind of free, independent.
But
in a house.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, why a cat?
I don't know. I think I really respect cats. And I think that's partly because I see some similar traits. Yeah, I think that I'm quite independent, but also, so long as you feed me, pretty loyal.
That's good.
Yeah.
What's your favorite color?
Have a running joke with my friends about teal, but yeah,
Teal.
I like like
Like-
the listeners at home can't see all of these nice colours behind you
The
on
blues.
the throw. Yeah, like the green blue, turquoise but darker.
Mm.
I like that very much. But yeah,
And what makes you happy?
lots of things make me happy. Good food, stupid jokes, being with my friends. Yeah. Life. Like being able to create. That's a good thing. Yeah, that makes me happy.
And do you feel like now you know yourself very well?
Do I know myself everywhere? Nature as well
Very-
makes me happy, very, very happy.
Very well.
Do I know myself very well?
Yeah. On a percentage of 100%.
I am not really sure what's going on. No. I don't really know what the hell is going on. I don't think I know myself that well. Although that's just because I think there's really a lot to know. And I think I'm just scratching the surface. But I'm paying attention. That I can say for sure. I'm paying attention and I'm trying to figure it out. I think, like I said, I'm quite self-critical. So I often do kind of... I look back at my behaviour and analyse it and try and figure out what's going on.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's sigh coming with. And if you could meet your 15 years old self and say something, would you?
Yeah, buy Bitcoin. Just sell everything and buy Bitcoin. That's what I would say to the 15-year-old me. Yeah.
That's a good one.
No, seriously. Like just some words of encouragement, I think. Like stuff usually works out. And I think if I could impress upon my younger self that, be a little bit less afraid and just go for it, I think that would have been good advice. Yeah.
And anything that you want to learn to do? Anything new? Like an instrument or singing or... Do you still throw knives?
Yeah. I do. I really enjoy throwing sharp objects into wood. It's super satisfying.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. When I was some things that seem completely normal for me, now I say it to other people, or even when I just say it out loud, it doesn't seem so normal. But I'm so grateful for them. Like I said, I was doing hammer and nails at a very young age. And did I slip and hit my thumb a bunch of times? Yeah. But I was never angry at anyone for like giving me the hammer and nails. I was happy that I was able to learn this thing and be able to create a thing for myself and have that ability. Even if it was a wonky 2 bits of wood together that was a sword, in my head. The same with when I was about 3 years old, I remember like frying sardines with my mum.
Wow.
And like she would give me the sardines and I'd put them in the flour and like we'd put them, she'd show me how to carefully put them into the oil. And I was super young. And like I would use a knife at home and chop vegetables. And did I cut myself? Absolutely, I cut myself. But I was so grateful to just then know how to use a knife. And then I remember like going to school years later when I was like 9 or 10 and like, we did a cookery thing and they gave us plastic knives. And I was like, where's the actual knife? And they were like, no, you're too young to have an actual knife. And I was like, no, I'm not. So I feel like I was able to learn how to use these dangerous tools and do these things that potentially could be a bit dangerous at a young age. It just seemed normal for me. And like my dad gave me a penknife at a very young age. And at some point he bought me throwing knives and I don't think I was in double figures of age. I think I was below the age of 9 or 10. And I was like, how do you use these? And he's like, I don't know. He's like,
he just bought you throwing
you just
knives?
bought them for me? And
Wow.
and he was like, we'll figure it out. And I was like, okay, cool. But we never did. And we took them out so many times and we would try and get them to like do the thing, You throw it and it sticks in the wood. And they would just ping off or like, it just never worked for years. And then they got put in the attic or somewhere, And then I went axe throwing. I don't know, it's one of those things you can go and do. It was a party or something like that. And they explain to you that it's a distance management thing. The axe has to do a full rotation in the air. So you just throw it, and then depending on where the axe gets to, whether the bottom of it hits or the top of it hits, you can then adjust your distance. So it rotates just enough to go in. And then once you've got your distance, you can just throw as many, it always goes in.
Wow, but you don't have like to do like a wrist angle or?
You have to like throw it consistently.
Okay.
It doesn't really matter how you throw it. You just have to throw it the same each time.
Okay.
And then once you're in the right distance. Anyway, I'm getting digressing, but once I learned that, I was like, where are those freaking throwing knives? Because it must be the same thing. And it is the same thing. And then I found those old ones and then that just took off. I made my own and it's just a fun thing to do.
You're such an interesting person. This is a conversation I would never have with someone else.
So yeah, that's my throwing knife story. But yeah, they're fun. Yeah.
Any last recommendation?
The thing that has been really fascinating me and enriching my life at the moment has been learning about spirituality and religion and different takes on what's going on. So if you're not already doing that, I would recommend to anyone to pay attention to the old scriptures across the world. They are fascinating and you can learn something.
Nice. Thank you so much, Stefan,
Cool.
for
You're
your
welcome.
time.
Thanks. This was so nice.
I loved it.
Yeah, me too.
If you enjoyed this podcast, please give it a 5 stars on your favorite platform. It really supports me, and then I can interview all the artists of the world until I die. Merci.